Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with the talented and outstanding Mr. Aaron Zommers on the board. It is now 6 past the hour on this 6 past the hour 12 noon on this Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. It is
Hump Day.
That's right. Take a quick look outside at the street cam here at the world headquarters of Civic Media, high atop State Street. The snow is falling. Look at that, folks. A little light snow here. The looks very wintry outside. That's Fairchild. It kind of takes the corner and State Street going left to right on your screen there. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the like. A little snow across Wisconsin. Temperature is a bit warmer, but do drive carefully out there. You can check, as Jane Matnair, our friend on Matnair on Air, likes to remind us, 511.gov or 511wi.gov, 511wi.gov for all the road conditions around Wisconsin. Our meteorologists say light snow will continue across much of the state. An inch or so maybe in the southern part, by understand in the northern part of Wisconsin, Douglas County, in that area, some snow squalls, some higher snow accumulations there. And speaking of it, on a Wednesday, we are joined by the host of Up North News Radio every morning from 6 until 8 on the Civic Media Radio Network, Mr. Pat Kreitlow.
Speaking of what? Speaking of squalls? What? Wait, where was the transition?
Speaking of up north.
And what was that piano music? I thought that maybe I was at Eduardo's Fine Dining and I needed to hear some ice cubes in a tumbler of bourbon over there with the traffic report. That was really something.
Street cam theme.
It's our street music. Yeah. We'll go to the street.
that was adorable. Suddenly transported back to a simpler time.
How are you, Patrick?
I'm great. Just finished our headline card for Up North News. Our most recent post is going to be a headline card that says, "Did you have this on your climate change bingo card? A Bucks game being canceled because of a snowstorm in New Orleans."
Right.
And a very snowy scene down Bourbon Street. So, it's the end of days. We're fine. We're fine.
We're absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And joining us from a secure, undisclosed location outside of the country, he is back. It is the senior advisor to the Lincoln Project, a native of River Falls, Wisconsin, and a former Republican like myself. Senior advisor to the Lincoln Project, Mr. Trygve Olsen. Trygve, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I don't know what Pat's complaining about. The snowstorm in the south has trapped us in Belize. So we came down here to escape the inauguration in D.C. And now my kids and wife and I can't get home. So.
Oh, no. Oh, you poor baby.
It might be God trying to send me a message. I know. Can you believe it?
Somehow he's been kept out of the country. It's already in effect.
It is already in effect. Yeah.
Every little thing going to be all right. You will be just fine.
Exactly. My sister was telling me she did get back to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and it was 35 degrees below wind chill when they landed.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
It does, to Pat's point, it is more than ironic and weird that New Orleans has more snowfall today than Wisconsin.
Yeah, Mobile, Alabama. I've got coworkers in Georgia. This is the second time they've gotten snow in as many weeks or so. I mean, they are just, dumbfounded. Everything grinds to a halt there. And they go, How do you guys put up with this for a few weeks? I'm like, weeks? Do you know how long winter lasts here?
Right.
You know what it is, though? Living in Virginia, every once in a while we'll get a snowstorm and it will just shut everything down. It's because they don't have the equipment to handle it.
Right.
And I was talking to the lady at United Airlines in Houston about when we might be able to get home, because it's getting a little ridiculous with the amount of school that kids are having to do outside of school. And she said, well, we have 3 inches of snow and we have no equipment for dealing with that. So,
wow. Yeah, that's not fun. Also, a quick note here, personal note, before we go any further, big shout out to my youngest godson, Jason Kohler, who celebrates his 25th birthday today. So happy birthday, Jay. Yeah, absolutely. He is, last I heard, because he works for the Department of Defense and Navy, and they ship him all around working on submarines, aircraft carriers. Last I heard, he was in San Diego, so the weather out there not too bad either. But it's always easy to remember Jason's birthday because it's the same age as the year he was born in 2000. So there you go.
All right.
So
Congratulations.
Happy birthday to Jason. Guys, lots to talk about. As we keep saying, a fire hose of information. Let's start in Wisconsin, just to kick things off. Pat, you and I will be joining our political editor here at Civic Media and founder of the Recombobulation Area, Dan Schaefer, for tonight's State of the State address. Governor Tony Evers will be taking to the stage at 7 o'clock in the Assembly Chamber. You and I are going to kick off the pregame show, as we say, at about 10 till. Pat, what are you expecting, or what would you hope for in tonight's address?
Well, at the pregame tailgate, I'm hoping that you're bringing the Johnsonville brats. I will try to. I'll bring some beverages, and then we'll get yelled at by the Capitol Police, who do not like tailgating ahead of the State of the State. But I think, much like in the pregame, we will take an educated guess of things that Governor Evers will say. It's actually not that educated because, I mean, he's already released some of it here. So, I mean, he's going to be talking about jobs and the workforce and reducing crime and violence and asking for a lot more money for mental health for children, money he asked for last year that, Republicans in the legislature cut out. He's going to talk up the $4 billion surplus, and he's going to make a big deal about the child care crisis and that we have the capacity to address the child care crisis. So we just don't have the desire on the part of the folks on the right side, the conservative side of the Assembly and Senate.
Trygve Olson, you worked for former Governor Scott McCallum and Tommy Thompson. You also spent time on involved in State of the Union addresses in your time in the U.S. Senate. You and I traveled around the state. Pat joined us for a couple, 3 or 4 of those shows, as we like to say, of our What Makes Wisconsin Great tour. One of the things I'm hoping from Governor Evers tonight is I hope he spends some time on just cheerleading. There is a rhythm. There's a cadence to these things. There's a way to put them together because at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot of policy alongs that are going to sit and listen or watch this entire thing. It's more about the dynamics, the marketing that comes out of them, is it not?
Yeah, 100%. I think the other thing is, assuming he's not running again, which, maybe he does, but I doubt. He's into the final 2 years, right? So he's playing for legacy here. And I think he should be aggressive. He should be aggressive in calling on Robin, Voss, and Republicans to work with him on big issues that sort of have always transcended partisan bickering in the state of Wisconsin, whether that's the UW system, public education, conservation, those kinds of issues, workforce development. Because there should be deals to be had, and if there aren't deals to be had, which we talk about on here, it's often because the Republicans can't get their acts together. But he needs to be aggressive in setting a tone that there are deals to be had on this.
Pat?
I'm sorry. I was
I was just saying. Do you
over on mute.
No, it's fine. Do you agree that this is opportunity for the governor to be aggressive, as Trygve said, and call on these Republicans to work with him on big issues, whether it's not just for his legacy if he chooses not to seek a third term, or maybe it is propelling him into a possible run for a third term. But these bigger issues, like he's saying, like healthcare and this sort of thing.
What he's going to keep in mind is that he's not talking to the normal audience. He's not talking to the entire Assembly and Senate convening there. He's not talking to people listening on Civic Media or watching on Wisconsin Eye. He's got a brand new audience for this speech, and that is the handful of Republicans under these new maps who are now in swing districts. And if they go home in 2026 and are as far to the right as Robin Voss wants them to be, they're going to get replaced. And Democrats are going to be in the majority. So when you have, like we did on Up North News Radio this morning, you had State Representative Francesca Hong there, who talked about her Healthy School Meals for All bill. To borrow a line from Matt Nair on Air, this shouldn't be a thing where there's school lunch debt and where kids go hungry at school. This is a no-brainer. And yet Republicans for 3 or 4 years in a row have not even given the bill a public hearing. This is the kind of thing that comes right to the swing state lawmakers and says, you want to go home saying you didn't do something on this? Now, maybe that one's not the best example, but Evers is going to bring up examples of things that surely a swing state Republican, or swing district Republican, I should say, should feel a little pressure to say, I got to go home and say I did something. That's who Evers should talk to tonight.
Trigby Olson, 2 minutes left here before the first break. To Pat Kreitlow's point there, we had Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez on the program a couple of weeks ago, and when we asked her what she was looking at, what issues were important to her into this year, she did not go for the low-hanging political easy fruit. She went to housing and started talking about housing. And I thought, how smart is that? Because I don't care whether you're in inner city Milwaukee or in the rural parts of the state. You know as well as I do when we travel around the state, that is an issue that cuts through partisanship and through area. And to Pat's point, these are the big issues that can actually unite us. And I would force Republicans to say no to that, put them in a spot.
Yeah, I agree with what Pat was saying about the politics of it 100%, right? Like the maps are transformational because they create an audience that should be looking for consensus on both sides, quite frankly, Republicans and Democrats. Second, housing is one of those issues. I think, this is one thing I can't understand, having lived it and knowing so many people who have, is aging parents and some of the challenges that exist with the aging population in Wisconsin, and what sort of, people in our age group are having to deal with, right? Mm-hmm. I know Pat's a little older, so he might be dealing with those
by a year.
Yeah.
By a year now, Trigby.
I've missed you, man. I've really missed
you. We knew you were staying away for a reason, Trigby, because you turned a year older.
He had to reload with new one-liners. Exactly.
Right, exactly.
I only I'm a one-trick pony on that.
Denise, watching on YouTube, says perhaps we should start having classrooms of students right into the government and make the case for school lunches. Well, good idea there, Denise. Yeah. But I mean, there is a rhythm to this, guys, right? I mean, if I were, and I've offered to do this, they haven't taken me up on it, but you kind of write this, Evers should say something like, and to all of us here, I know all of us are going to pledge to take care of our senior citizens in Wisconsin. And then the whole chamber, is going to applaud that. And they sit down and he says, and guys, I hope my friends Republican side will do that by accepting the Medicaid money from Washington. And then you bait them in. There's a rhythm to this, and they just don't get that.
Yeah.
I can only agree. I'm looking at the clock too, Trigby. I'm like, yep, I can say yeah.
I know. All right, Todd timed that one poorly. When we come back, more with Trigby from Belize and Paradise trying to get back in the country, and Kreitlow safe and sound at Lake Wissota. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
Yeah.
I didn't know what
I'm looking good. What am I going to do with this?
I know. I messed it up. I'm sorry. Not my finest moment in broadcasting.
No, that's okay. I noticed that Tony, for the first time this morning, he put up. You remember our little back and forth last week? He put that up. It's the first time anything from the Secret Show has ever been posted onto social media.
Oh, very good.
See, so you got to watch yourself in those commercial breaks.
The Secret Show. You had a secret show.
That's what we call these conversations during the commercial breaks for the people who are watching.
Yeah. That's good. Really good.
That's right. There's a chat here. I'm about to out one of the Civic Media folks. One of our producers, Cardi, says, "Is there any way to adjust the heat in the Racine studio? It's cold." Cardi, welcome to Wisconsin, man. That's
unfortunate.
There was somebody, a friend of mine. I don't want to say who it is, but we both know the person, Pat, who said they were up in Chippewa and she'd been without power for about 36 hours.
Wow. I heard there was a big outage somewhere around Chippewa. I haven't seen any coverage of it. A few people have posted about it, so I'm really glad to be just outside the city because that'd be no fun.
No, not at all.
No.
Awfully cold for that.
Yeah.
You look a little bit like Charlie from Charlie and the Angels because your back.
I know he's
your
totally
silhouette.
again the people without TV training who put a window behind them so he's just a silhouette. He's a secret agent right now.
No, it's not. It's a case of the power. There's no plug over.
I thought it was on purpose. We had to look at the beautiful ocean, or is it the Gulf of
25 seconds.
Gulf of America?
It is the Gulf of America. It is literally the Gulf of America.
Oh God!
All right, here we go. 15 seconds.
Thank you.
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm walking
21 past the hour at 12 noon on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Not sure whether he's walked 500 miles, but he has done 500 shows coming up this Friday. The anniversary of Up North News Radio from Lake Wissota celebrates its 500th show. Welcome back to the program on Civic Media.
Look at you scooping my own announcement over here. This is fantastic.
I didn't know it was a secret.
I told you during the secret show this morning.
Well,
I haven't said it on air yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm very touched. Thank you for recognizing. I'm so surprised. Is it really? Oh, I had no idea.
We talked about this morning.
Sorry, I missed the dress rehearsal.
It's a cool achievement. So you're celebrating. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. How many years have you been doing the show, Pat?
Well, that'd be just over 2. So yeah, sometime in the we started the early morning show like the week before the 2022 elections. So yeah, so we've been at this for 2.25 years. It took that much with all the vacation time. I mean, Trigvi and I, we compete over who gets more time there by the Gulf of Mexico, kids. And
America.
He's there now.
Gulf of
but
America.
No, America. It starts with an M. I'll be there before too much longer, somewhere nearby. But we made it to 500 and could not have done it without you, Todd, and all of your great advice, your guidance, your counsel, your stellar example of what to do, sometimes what not to do. But it's all there. You're the full package, Todd. You're great.
No, you're great, Pat. No, in all seriousness, congratulations. I'm very happy for you, and even more happy for all the people that get to listen to the fine show every morning between 6 and 8 right here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Speaking of wacky things that have come out of the White House in the last 48 hours, Trigvi is in front of the Gulf of Mexico, which the Trumpster is trying to rename Gulf of America. Here's the thing, guys. It's not just us in the United States that are kind of thrown off by this. You're both international men of mystery and travelers.
It's
here
true.
now. We bring you the German broadcasting the inauguration on Monday. And of course, a lot of these networks took it from like 7 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. It was over the top, in my opinion. I mean, fine to broadcast the actual, speech, but all day. Here's now, if you know German, hang on to your hats. This is the German TV announcer trying to talk about this coverage, and his producer, which was supposed to go into the earpiece, ended up going out over the air. Here we go.
Reihe von ernsthaften Trump-Fans, die haben gesagt, nein, jetzt ist die Zeit, die wahren Geschichten zu erzählen. Sag mal, wie lange wollt ihr bei dem bleiben? Ja.
So the producer says over the air, quote, and I got to clean it up for radio. That's why we actually bleeped it, because we don't know that we can swear in a foreign language. The producer said, how long do we have to stay on this blank crap?
That's funny.
I thought that was pretty good.
That's yeah. I mean that's a Tucker Carlson speech where you afterwards you go, was it Tucker Carlson where the famous line, it sounded better in its original German? I mean, that's the original German right there. That's a funny line.
Trigvi, your wife is from Eastern Europe. You spend a lot of time there personally and for work. What's your take on what the international community has thought of the first 40 hours of Trump 2.0?
I mean, I think it's been since the election, right? Like, there's a lot of trepidation about it. And I just think there's a lot of insanity.
Yeah.
They're seeing it for what it is.
Well, and that's, I guess, I have a lot of friends. Well, I have a few friends, but I have people in my friend group or whatever. Text. Some people are really freaked out by this. A couple of us who have been in politics before are like, It's not that we don't care. It's not that we're not disturbed by it, but we kind of knew what was coming. And this isn't. I mean, Trump said he was going to release all the January 6 hostages, and Glenn Grossman saying, right, that's what he called them. That's what he called he. Not me, him called them that. And heroes, by the way. And then we had Glenn Grothman, Pat, back in, we played it yesterday at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, that said, well, I don't believe he's going to do that. He did say that he believed that those rioters, insurrectionists who beat police should be in jail, but said that he didn't think that Trump would actually do what he's saying.
No, Trump did that and more. Now, I thought a lot of this was going to happen on day one, but some of it is happening even today. Today's headlines include that Trump has ordered the Justice Department to investigate any city and state official who obstructs his effort to do mass deportations. Shorthand version, the Trump police state has arrived. And in the past few minutes, comes a headline from the New York Times that says Trump is moving to paralyze a watchdog agency that protects privacy and civil liberties. So, this is what we're getting. This is what we knew we were going to get. And to Jeff on Facebook saying maybe a lot of stuff in the next 4 years will be broadcast in German. I would be good with that because then, since I don't speak it, I don't have to pay as much attention to it, but I do. So I share it with you.
Guys, just a couple of minutes left here, Pat, or Trigby, then Pat, 30 seconds each or so. We'll talk more when we come back, Trigby, but what should people really be looking at? Because we can't digest all of this every single day.
I had a great journalism instructor, the late Henry Lippold at UW-Eau Claire. And it was kind of a running joke the way he always used to say it. But the way he always told us to write news was pretend you're in the audience and say, oh, but what does it mean? What does it mean to me? The viewer, the reader, the listener. And that's what we got people to think about. The Gulf of whatever, it doesn't mean anything to you. The Mount McKinley thing, it doesn't mean anything to you. It's Denali. Look at the things that he's going to do. I mean, today already he has cut jobs. Now, they were jobs involving DEI, but he's already got a net job loss going. Look at the things that affect you for healthcare and, taxes when that tax bill comes out. And I'll leave it at that. If you're going to study nothing else about the second Trump administration, just spend time as the tax bill is debated. And at the end of it, you're going to be like, this guy does not stand for me at all. So again, what does it mean to you? If it means nothing, ignore it and move on.
Yeah. We're going to come back and talk more trivia with you. But again, Pat, we will see you tonight, again, around 10 till 7 across the Civic Media Talk Network, 11 stations across the state of Wisconsin, as we are going to co-anchor the State of the State address with Governor Tony Evers. And we'll be joined by our political editor and founder of the Recombobulation Area, Dan Schaefer, tonight on the pre and the post game show, and we'll also carry the Republican response, whether that's Robin Voss or whoever. So good times had by all, Pat. We'll see you later tonight.
Have it be Trigby. I'm hoping just send the script to Trigby. He can give it. Let him edit it first. See you later.
Well, thank you very much. Up North News Radio every morning from 6 until 8 on Civic Media. A tan, arrested Trigby Olson comes back with us on the other side. Don't go anywhere on Civic Media's Media Network.
Man, you pay extra for a producer that ties that. Go ahead, Trigby.
Follow the money.
Yeah. Where does the money go to? Who benefits
So much
from all
follow
this?
the money. Where the money is going, right?
Yep.
I think all this stuff is distractions, so they can steal as much as they can.
That's yes, and you just said it better than I did. You should put it that way. So, see, this is why.
I'm sorry I stepped on your big news, Pat. I didn't mean to.
No. I saw a laugh line and I ran for it.
Okay.
This is where the folks in Green Bay, Racine, Richland Center, Madison, Oshkosh, where they go, oh, this is why I don't listen to that guy in the morning.
No, that's not true at all.
Give me my local show. But no, come join us on the Secret Show like this. We have fun in the mornings too.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Talk to you guys. Talk to you tonight. See you, Trigby.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Adios.
All right. See you, Pat.
price levels do we need to be at in order to clear those products? So demand has been consistent, right? So that's
All right, we'll
been
come
good
back
news.
and get
We're entering our third
take
cheese holiday of
on
the year
that.
here. So we have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the Super Bowl.
Dairy economist Leonard Polzin with the Division of Extension. He says he hopes
I've
people
got
enjoy the Super Bowl
cut
accordingly
yesterday,
with
or
cheesy
no,
pizzas and
Monday
cheesy
night.
dips for the
I think
third
at
and final holiday
at the Oval
of the
signing,
cheese
the
demand
executive
season.
or
We'll take a
talking,
look
being
at our
asked about
midday
Gaza
commodity
and
prices
saying
next.
it's not our war,
think
and
the
basically saying, you know,
collaboration that we see
but
between
wow, I've seen the
Wisconsin Farm
pictures
Bureau
and it has a
and
lot of
these
potential. It's
other
right by the
commodity
sea.
groups
I mean, literally
gives us
talking
a
about it as
cohesive
development.
message, a singular
So I
Just
mean,
like you
sense
thought
and
they would.
agriculture
yeah,
that
just like we
offers
called out.
credibility. It gives
We've got a
us
cut of
cohesive
Jake
message
Tapper.
and support for all of our
We're talking about the
agricultural
Biden
organizations.
pardons. What else we have? We've got
It's easy to join.
the bishop yesterday at the National Cathedral calling out Trump, which I thought was pretty damn brave. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I saw it.
It's pretty good, yeah.
And then we got a cut of Bob Euchre calling CC Sabathia's final out in 2008 because he's going into the Hall of Fame. And we also have the Capitol Police Chief on CBS Evening News last night talking about the J6 pardons.
Lightning and more. Visit
What do you like in that deck? What do you like in that deck of cards?
I think we can talk about that. We should talk about her calling him out.
Okay.
That was a
Wednesday
powerful
from Chicago,
moment.
markets are giving back some of the
what else?
gains they saw earlier this week, all except wheat. July new crop wheat is up a penny and a half at 5.83 and a quarter.
Let's talk about
Cash
that
corn
one. What
is
other
trading
one do you
2
want to talk
3/4
about?
cents lower at 4.87 and a quarter. December new crop corn is down a half a cent at 4.59 and a quarter. Cash soybeans are down 8 cents at 10.59 and a quarter. And November new
Either
crop beans
the
are
Capitol
trading 2
Police
cents
Chief
lower
on the
at
J6 pardons.
10.47.
Yeah,
or-
let's talk about the Capitol Police Chief, because then we can
Alright.
pivot into, there's been some members of Congress, even Republican ones, who are worried about how dangerous it makes it for them. Are some
Right.
of these guys going to come back?
For the Midwest Farm
Right.
Report, I'm Stephanie Hoff.
Okay.
Feel like they now have carte blanche.
Right.
civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
Hitting a major mark as we stay above zero today with mostly cloudy skies and light snow on and off throughout the afternoon.
We'll pick up that comment you said offline. Just what your feelings are on what people should watch for in the new administration.
All
What's
the money.
important. Yeah, exactly. And we've got school shooting in Nashville. At least two students are shot.
Again?
Yep.
This is just breaking news?
Just breaking 11 minutes ago.
I'll be honest with you. Last time that I went to a red carpet event, it was when a company revealed a new herbicide.
Get some water. Be right. Oh no, I don't have
Weekday
time.
morning 6 till 8 on 92.7 WNDX.
I'll be fine. I got coffee. I don't need water.
Media app.
Bless you. For those watching the live stream, Trigby is enjoying a mojito next to the golf this morning.
No, I'm not. I stopped drinking after we got our stay extended. I don't drink very much anymore, and I drank a lot early in this trip.
Really? Yeah.
Because if you like pina coladas,
Gene was saying that representatives around the state, even like Ron Johnson, they're actually having real people answering their phones today. So if you want to call and share something.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll put Gene on.
Okay. All right. We got about 10 seconds.
All right.
It's those changes in attitudes, changes in attitudes. Nothing remains quite the same. All of our running and all of our cunning, if we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane.
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show, the Civic Media Ready Up. We're a little Jimmy Buffett for you at 34 past the hour of 12 noon Wednesday, January 22nd. Mr. Trigby Olson still in flip-flops down in beautiful Belize at a secure, undisclosed location. With the
Birkenstocks actually, not flip-flops, but
Birkenstocks.
close enough.
Okay. Close enough for government work, and we ought to know. We appreciate you being here. Like myself, a former Republican, he is also a native of River Falls, now the senior advisor at the Lincoln Project, and normally joins us from our nation's capital, but being kept out of the country, not by a Trump special order, but by the weather, Trigby.
Yeah. The storms have eliminated all flights in and out of Belize except to Kennedy in New York on JetBlue, which goes twice. And when I checked to see if we could do that, it was like $1,800 a ticket. And I'm like, we're staying down here. Yes.
Right.
Because, all these airlines, actually, can we talk about something that people might find interesting and is affecting all of us? Is, for things like airline tickets and stuff on the internet, so much of it now, like tickets to sporting events, etc., it's that automatic pricing. So it bids stuff up.
Right.
So, there are a bunch of people stuck down here. Everybody's trying to get on JetBlue because it's the only flight north of the Mason-Dixon line. And all of a sudden the tickets are $1,800 a piece. Like, who's going to pay that? I guess somebody.
Somebody will, not Trigby. He'll sit there and
Not
enjoy
me.
the fair winds there. I want to pick up a little bit, and again, thank you to Pat Kreitlow for being on as per usual on the first half hour of a Wednesday. But Trigby, give us your thoughts on, with all of this, whether it's the goofiness of trying to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and all the other things we've seen in the campaign and now in the first 48 hours of the second Trump administration. What's really important for all of us to pay attention to, in your opinion, moving forward?
I think you got to follow the money, Todd. I mean, there's this weird Bitcoin, Trump coin thing that's going on. There's the AI investment, and there's TikTok. And I think what you really have to be watching is the money throughout this thing, far more than the distractions. And I think things like Denali being renamed Mount McKinley, which, quite frankly, neither Republican senator wanted to do. I think the pardoning of the Silk Road guy is an interesting one because he was about to get $6.5 billion in Bitcoin. They were about to sell it. Now the question is, will he get that back from the federal government? Like, where's that money going to go, right? Because this guy's been sitting in prison. He'd acquired all these Bitcoin through illegal stuff. I think that's where you really have to be watching, is like, what's going on with that stuff. I think the other thing that has to be watched is how much of the chaos of Trump does that spill over to chaos into the broader world? Because that's the kind of thing that can start getting conflict started, where people get killed. Maybe lots of people, hopefully not. But
we covered a little bit yesterday that this new Trump bit currency, this cryptocurrency, he launched it a couple of weeks ago, and already the valuation.
He launched it 2 days before he took office.
All right, well, within a week. It's estimated now that is worth $50 billion with a B. The First Lady, Melania Trump, launched one on Sunday, I believe, and hers is now worth $5 billion with a B. And nobody knows where this money came from, Trigby, to your point. I don't care who you are. That's a hell of a lot of influence and a hell of a lot of money, and nobody knows where it comes from.
Well, remember, Todd, it's all on paper, right? So the Trump one, at its peak, was worth $58 billion. And then within 2 hours, the people who had paid big money for it lost 40%. I mean, the whole thing's kind of a scam.
But it's the influence.
But there is the potential for influence that is game changer with all of that. And that is an influence from really bad people, because it's not really trackable. And, there's going to have to be, it's a new world as it relates to those kinds of things. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of people voted to have the price of eggs lowered. They were unhappy about inflation. They were unhappy about a variety of things. I think at the end of the day, what they're going to see is a lot of kleptocracy and corruption and rich people profiting handsomely by fewer rules. And in some cases, maybe even outright corruption. And that's what people need to be watching for.
Yeah. Well, I think you're still right. How does it affect our lives on Main Street in River Falls, where you and I have been and you grew up and we did a show? How is it affecting people who go to Packer games and are all excited about the Hall of Fame, or pardon me, the draft coming to Green Bay? The people that go and buy groceries all across Wisconsin, how are these actions affecting us? And I think you're right about where to look for that at. 855-752-4842 if you'd like to call in and ask Trigby a question or a comment. 855-752-4842. You can also text us on the Civic Media app. We go up to beautiful, speaking of Eau Claire, Northwest Wisconsin, the Chippewa Valley. Gene in Eau Claire on WCFW, The Tap. Gene, always a pleasure. What say?
Well, always a pleasure to hear you guys, too. It's always great, informative information. I have to give kudos to Mr. Kreitlow because Henry Lippold was an outstanding teacher, especially in news and public affairs reporting. I had him for an instructor, too. Outstanding guy. Anyway, I just want to make a comment regarding being active and having your voice heard. And today, I've called some of our representatives in the state of Wisconsin. They have human beings answering the phone today. So if you want to have your voice heard on different things and your concerns, be polite. Even Ron Johnson's office had a really nice young woman answering the phone and taking your comments. So please feel free to call. Let them know how you feel. If you think it's a great thing, letting the people who attacked the Capitol, who are after them too, go right ahead and give your call. I think it's a good day to be heard. So thank you, guys. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you, everything you do. Bye.
Thank you, Gene. Always a pleasure. Really appreciate that. And Trigby, you and I have been former Capitol, state, and federal staffers. And yeah, I mean, when you get a call from your boss's constituent and they're polite, that does have a major effect. I mean, I personally don't believe, or I shouldn't say don't believe, pardon me, but I mean, when I was working for a member of Congress or a state senator, if you got a call from far outside your boss's district, I mean, that kind of went in one pile and then constituents in another. So I'm not sure how effective calling somebody who doesn't represent you is. But to Gene's point, Ron Johnson represents all Wisconsinites in the in the United States Senate. And of course, we have our state senators and state assembly people and the U.S. Congress people. So take Gene's advice: be polite, be kind, but be heard, and that is our right. Speaking of being kind and being heard, Tracy Olson, we are talking to, senior advisor at the Lincoln Project. Profile and courage. And as Bill Rafferty says on CBS basketball coverage, onions, talking about the bishop who there was kind of the final part of the inauguration on, I think it was the Monday or yesterday, at the National Cathedral. Yesterday at the National Cathedral was this church service where you had the current president, Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, the Trump and Vance family, other people of the cabinet sitting there in the front, second, third row. And the bishop who gave the homily, the sermon, ended it. We're going to play, I think it's like 2 minutes or so. We're going to play the whole thing because I think this is courageous, and come back with Trigby's thought. This is the bishop at the National Cathedral speaking to President Trump.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands. to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
That was Bishop Marianne Edgar Buddy, fearlessly calling out President Trump, Vice President Vance, with them right in the front row. Trigby, I thought it was both poignant, heroic, and for those of us who grew up in Lutheran and Methodist churches across the state of Wisconsin, she said it very clearly what Christianity really is about.
Yeah, I think the people that are offended by this, by someone asking the most powerful person in the world to be merciful towards those who are powerless, then you don't really know what the teachings of Jesus Christ are all about, or what the Bible really says. Like, if that's where your Christianity leads you, for God's sakes, the Christianity at the end of the day is foundationally about the golden rule. And Donald Trump's response to it isn't grounded in any sort of foundational Judeo-Christian notions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you see his tweet today?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I was trying to probably pull it up. It was one of those middle of the night ones again, I believe, where he just went off on her and attacked her personally. It's sad. Like you say, if you can't recognize that what that bishop, what that pastor said was the foundational tenets of Jesus Christ, then with all due respect, I question your beliefs and your sincerity of being a true Christian.
Yeah, you're 100%. I mean, that is the foundation of all religions to some degree, is about the betterment of humanity and looking out for those who are less well off than you.
Let's go quickly to the phones, 855-752-4842. Mark, up against the clock. If you could make it brief, Mark and Perdestack, go ahead, please.
Yes, certainly. I mean, it was fun. It was paraphrasing much of what Jesus' message was. I mean, encapsulated in modern language, but I mean, that was what in most of the prophets. I mean, that in Islam, you're supposed to be welcoming to the stranger, and you're supposed to be freely giving of yourself. In Hinduism and in Sikhism and all the major faiths are all about giving to others. And for Donald Trump to be condemning this speech, he just does not understand. For a man who just said, "Well, I was anointed by God," well, he certainly doesn't understand his mission to humanity and his mission to the people of the United States if he cannot accept what this woman has forcefully told him. And I see on Fox News they were condemning what she said as well. I mean, some of their hosts, I think Sean Insanity was talking about how bad it was for her to be calling out. Well, that's what ministers are supposed to do. They're supposed to challenge us.
Well said, Mark. Thank you so very much for the call. L.A. Tom and Eric, you're up next along with Trigby Olson, live from the Gulf of Mexico on the other side. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
Great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Blind Shot Social Club. A perfect.
I just thought that was. That's just extraordinarily courageous.
Space for events, craft cocktails, and non-alcoholic drinks too.
And now they're real. Right. And now there are real. I mean, you probably saw it, but I mean, there's real concerns now for her safety.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, it's family time at Chula Vista with the right kind of fun.
Talk about bad timing. Breaking news. UW-Madison DEI chancellor removed over concerns about financial mismanagement. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Playing right into their hands.
I know.
Spa visit, relaxing at outdoor fire pits, Or you can go all out at 80,000 square feet of indoor water.
And yes, Joshua in Wausau texting in that Trump didn't even put his hand on the Bible when he took his oath of office.
Yes, good point.
You are correct.
Good point, Josh in Wausau.
All his stuff in his speech about being a man of God, and we've got other cuts of him saying pretty recently, like a few months ago, like, I'm not a Christian, but all you Christians need to vote for me, and then it'll be all fixed.
Right.
All right here on site. Check it out at ChulaVistaResort.com.
Discover Chula's Winter Wonderland. Miles of freshly groomed trails, skiing, sledding, snowshoeing.
How long is
Check
the
out bonus
cut
gift
from
cards
the
at
police chief,
ChulaVistaResort.com.
the Capitol Police Chief, please?
We're going out of town next month and need a cat.
2 minutes and 16 seconds.
Ooh. All right. We'll see.
Belly rubs? Yeah, Hotel K Pet Sitting. They're local and dependable. They feed our
Well, if we
cats,
don't get to it,
fresh
we don't
water
get
out,
to it.
and even
Yeah.
scoop the litter box.
We got two
And they
calls,
send
LA
daily
Tom and
messages
Eric.
with pictures giving us peace of mind
30
while we're
seconds.
away.
Thank you.
We're house sitting, cat sitting.
Tried to amend my carnivorous habits.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Now 9 before the hour of 1 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2, another edition of What's Worse? Having to do with backs and necks. Trivia, do you feel relaxed now that you've spent some time? Is your back and neck, is it doing okay?
You know, I kind of have some lower back issues, but I did go down on the dock for $85. You could get a body scrub and a 90-minute massage. And I did do that.
Oh my goodness gracious! Talk about
Isn't
making
that
me
a
jealous.
deal too? Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's a deal. Yeah,
But I've
absolutely.
been having some lower back problems. I have really tight hips from hockey.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well,
And
I
as
hope,
you age, you know, you start.
I know, but you've been doing
Stiffening
great.
up.
You got a trainer. You're slim,
Yeah.
trim. You're fit. You're ready to go in 2025. All right, let's go quickly to the phones. 855-752-4842. Talking a little bit about this courageous Bishop Marianne Edgar Buddy, who fearlessly called out Trump and Vance to their faces yesterday in a church service. Joining us from Los Angeles, California, LA Tom. Again, LA Tom, our hearts and our thoughts and prayers with everybody out in LA right now. A quick reminder, if you, our listeners, anybody would like to donate to worthy and reputable causes, you can go to civicmedia.us. We have a list of all of them, including the Red Cross and World Food Kitchen. LA Tom, how are you, first of all, and what say you?
I'm doing great. I'll share some of that stuff with you on another day. But
sure.
Before I say my comment, Trigby, I wanted to say if you actually start having real bad lower back pains, I got a guy for you here in LA. I've had back pain. I've had back pain my whole life, and I've had spinal fusion surgery and everything else from football. And I'll tell you right now, this guy, I have been pain-free for the last year and a half. I don't even know what the hell he did, really, but it was pretty amazing. So if you are interested, let me know.
Okay.
For all the callers, for all the callers out there, and all the people watching, go back and listen to Franklin Delano Roosevelt's speeches. Go back and listen to "We Have Nothing to Fear But Fear Itself." Go back and listen to just the different things. By the way, Bernie Sanders also had a really great YouTube moment about the inauguration on YouTube. But what I would say is I think our mission has got to be to hold on to the top 4 things. Don't worry about DEI. Don't worry about all of these other things, because those things are just things he's throwing up on the wall, so to speak. But what I would be worrying about is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and now Obamacare. Those are the 4 that I would definitely be watching, because all they're doing is going to throw a bunch of stuff on the wall, like the Gulf of Mexico's new name and all that kind of stuff. So therefore, we're all distracted by the fact. I mean, he didn't get really anything done yet,
right?
Except for the fact that he was able to pardon all the people. But all he's doing is again lying to his base.
Right.
And now all of a sudden we have a school shooting in Nashville today.
Yeah, just saw that.
So I hope that everybody realizes that going from January 20th on, this is Trump 2.0. And just start collecting all of the little things as we go along to see how much our life gets better with this guy.
Good point, Tom. I appreciate it. Again, our thoughts and prayers with all of you out there in Los Angeles. Thanks for the call. 855-752-4842. Let's go quickly to Eric, listening on WAUK in Milwaukee. Eric, we're up against the clock. If you can make it brief, please, sir.
Sure, real quick. Good afternoon. A friend of mine always used to say the Republicans both can't claim Jesus Christ and Rand. You have to pick one or the other. It's just, it just doesn't work. So I'll keep it quick and leave it at that.
Love it. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Let's go quickly to Tom in McFarland, listening on WMDX here in Madison. Again, Tom, if you can make it brief, please. We're up against the clock. Go ahead.
Sure. Just pointing out to especially the Fox News crowd that how they are just blasting this bishop for teaching about Jesus Christ, but they were all on board when a few years back a priest refused Joe Biden communion because of abortion, which is not part of Jesus' teachings.
Yeah, I appreciate good perspective, Tom. Really, really appreciate it. Trigby, about 2.5 minutes left here. That's all we have with you before you try to get back to the United States. All great calls, and I like the LA Tom. I mean, these big things, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and Obamacare. I thought that was a good point.
Really good point. Really good point. Social Security and Medicare in particular. I mean, there is an element within the right that has had their targets on those for quite some time because they're still fighting, Roosevelt and the New Deal. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Because, if you think about it, the irony is the people who would be most hurt by those kinds of things are Gen Xers who've been paying in, and it basically goes belly up when Gen Xers start retiring. Yeah. And they voted for Trump generationally at a greater numbers than any other generation. So, yeah.
Well, we got 1 minute here. Quick thoughts. Detroit, a loser. The NFC North has become the SEC of college football. Not a good look for the NFC North, Trigby.
No, and the irony of it is, I think, had the Packers beaten the Eagles, they'd have been on a pretty good course to get to the Super Bowl because I think they'd have beaten Detroit. But here's the thing, Philadelphia is a good football team. They're stacked. The other thing is, though, the Packers got really beat up. I mean, they were down to their 5th and 6th wide receiver, and that game just did not go very well. It's going to be interesting, though. That Jaden Daniels, man, that guy's a wild card. He's good.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Really good.
There's a part of me that just thinks Kansas City's going to win a third one.
I think that's true, but it'd be fun to see a Washington Bills Super Bowl. It'd be something different, but we'll see.
It would be, but I'm telling you, maybe, yeah, Chiefs.
All right. He's going with the Swift.
Then Travis Kelce can marry Taylor Swift, and they can go off in the sunset, and we can have football back.
Enjoy one last sunset down south. We'll see you back north next week. Thank you, my friend. Stay tuned. The girls, we're waving to them as well in the background. Thank you, everybody. We should come back for hour 2. All right, that was fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for making the effort.
Yeah, it was really good. Oh, my pleasure.
All right, safe
I'll connect
back.
with you when we get back, and we'll get a plan together here.
All right, cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Thanks, brother.
Adios.
See you, Zommers.
All right, I got to race like a
County Humane
pregnant
Society
piss horse.
reminds you, hey, bang on the hood of your vehicle before starting your engine this winter. It's that simple. You can save a cat's life. With frigid temperatures and little shelter, some cats are going to try to find a way to keep safe and warm, including, guess where? Under car hoods and in the wheel well of your vehicle. So before climbing into your vehicle and starting the engine, bang on the hood and give cats an opportunity to flee. To learn more, visit giveshelter.org.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us. This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A Civic Media station.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Getting tough with Russia. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
President Trump has said this week he thinks it's in Vladimir Putin's interest to end Russia's war against Ukraine, saying Monday in the Oval Office.
Russia's bigger, they have more soldiers to lose. But that's no way to run a country.
Today, Trump said if a deal is not made soon to end the war, he'll have no other choice but to put high levels of tariffs, taxes, and sanctions on Russia and its products. Russia is already heavily sanctioned by the U.S. because of the war in Ukraine. The president did not say what more actions he would take.
The Pentagon will begin deploying as many as 1,500 active duty troops to help secure the southern border in the coming days, say U.S. officials. The Trump administration has put a freeze on many federal health agency communications with the public through at least the end of the month. Hot, dry winds returning in Southern California, again raising fire danger, but forecasters say Saturday there could be rain. This is ABC News.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei-Olson. DeForest leaders have decided to wait on voting whether to remove fluoride from their water. The mineral helps prevent tooth decay and is added to municipal water supplies. There's a growing movement across the country as people claim fluoridating water could cause health issues. But more than 3,000 studies don't show fluoride in water causes health problems. In fact, some experts say putting fluoride in our water is one of the most effective public health strategies in American history. The McFarland Village Board has been considering whether to remove the mineral from the water supply, but last night decided to postpone the vote to get more public input. And we can add another to the list. Food Fight Restaurant Group will be hosting a fundraiser for the Abundant Life Christian School Recovery Fund. It's next Tuesday. 10% of all their sales will go toward the account hosted by the United Way. Dine-in and takeout sales will count, delivery will not. Food Fight owns restaurants here in Madison, including Bar Coralini, Johnny Delmonico's, Craftsman, two of my favorites, Mico Poke and Tex Tubbs Taco Palace. Again, that's next Tuesday. I'll remind you again next week. And Wisconsin's governor and attorney general are joining the fight against one of President Trump's new initiatives. Trump signed an executive order Monday saying the federal government will no longer recognize children born in America to parents who are here illegally as citizens. The 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified in 1868 after the Civil War. It says all people born or naturalized in the U.S. are citizens. Now more than 20 states are filing a lawsuit, and Wisconsin is one of them. Governor Tony Evers called Trump's order egregious and wrong-headed and said Wisconsin is joining the lawsuit to protect Americans' rights guaranteed in the Constitution. Attorney General Josh Kaul says the Constitution, federal law, and previous Supreme Court rulings are clear. People born here are citizens. America is one of at least 30 nations across the world with birthright citizenship. I'm Savannah Tomei-Olson. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
Marquette defeats Seton Hall. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Marquette Golden Eagles with a win on the road over Seton Hall. The final 76-59. A big night for Cam Jones, who led with 19 points after a poor showing over the weekend in their loss against Xavier. Head coach Shaka Smart.
You know, if you think about it, his role has changed so much in just, the last several months. But I've got to make sure I help him understand that heavy is the head that wears the crown, and there's no two people that applies to in this program more than him and me.
Marquette hosts Villanova on Friday. The Badgers with a loss at UCLA, 85-83. The loss snapping a 7-game winning streak for the Badgers. They'll host Nebraska Sunday at noon at the Kohl Center. And in baseball, former Brewer and Yankee pitcher C.C. Sabathia voted into the Hall of Fame. The 6'6", 300-pound lefty came to Milwaukee in 2008 in that trade with Cleveland and led the Brewers to the postseason for the first time in 26 years. With Sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
Hitting a major mark as we stay above zero today with mostly cloudy skies and light snow on and off throughout the afternoon. With very light accumulations, winds are still breezy, but they're out of the south, gusting up to 25 miles per hour, pushing our highs to near 20 degrees. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Right now, it's 17.
Matt and Air on Air.
Robotaxis made by Zooks are slated to hit the streets of California later on this year. Rides will initially be free for people who agree to test it out. You go first.
Have you ever wanted to drive in a 4-person casket with no driver?
My biggest sticking point about this is the name. Zooks is a cartoon character.
Yeah. Do you think one of these drivers going bumba 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 bumba?
Hello,
Matt and Air
hour
on Air.
two.
Weekdays at 11 on
Hello.
92.7
Is it me
WMDX
you're
and the
looking
Civic
for?
Media app.
Yes, it's you, hour two. Hey, everybody, Dane County Humane Society reminds you, hey, bang on the hood of your vehicle before starting your engine this winter. It's that simple. You can save a cat's life. With frigid temperatures and little shelter, some cats are going to try to find a way to keep safe and warm, including, guess where? Under car hoods and in the wheel well of your vehicle. So before climbing into your vehicle and starting the engine, bang on the hood and give cats an opportunity to flee. To learn more, visit giveshelter.org.
All right, 20 seconds.
The last one was my favorite. Like,
Mine
all
too.
right,
I
thank
saved
you.
it for last. Yeah.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. It is 6 past the hour of 1 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big program here on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, and it is Hump Day. That's right. Pack your 2-humped camel and go slowly in the snow. Mr. Zommers, let's check back outside. Oh, look at this. Quickly now, let's check this out. A Subaru just skidded around. There you see it. That Subaru you see right there just skidded around the corner from Dayton onto Fairchild Street. We have a slickery spot. A bulletin needs to go out to the fine folks at the Madison City Streets Department. Get us some salt or some sand there on that corner. That was almost took out the light pole there.
And for the drivers, go slow.
Go slow. That's
Another
right.
thing to point out, Todd hates when bicyclists do not follow the rules of the road. What we just saw there was
Thank
a
you.
law-abiding bicyclist stopped
Yes.
at the stoplight. That is shockingly rare in Madison.
But well appreciated. Look at that shot. What a great camera shot today. The Sam Davidson camera, as we like to call it there. Our great producer for John and Gordy, who occasionally fills in for Mr. Zommers on this show. Sam Davidson set this cam up. Look at that. It looks like a Christmas card.
It does.
You have snow flowing down there. Little snow on the streets. It's beautiful. But as we've been saying here, check 511.wi.gov. Will show you all the road conditions around Wisconsin. Some roads are a little slickery right now, so be aware of that. A couple of accidents here and there. Up in northern Wisconsin, again, some snow squalls. Jeff Perry, our friend and ongoing contributor, commenting on Facebook, 2-humped camel and a 3-way blender.
Let's put that on a t-shirt.
That sounds like a party at Jeff Perry's place. But anyway, yeah, that's fantastic. They're asking us what we should put on a t-shirt now. That's the question we've been asked.
So if you have any suggestions, feel free to let us know. I think 2-humped camel and a 3-way blender is a candidate.
That is a definite candidate. Sherry checking in on WMDX at Horicon says, hi, Todd and Aaron. Great show as always. We appreciate that. Also, Dave in New Berlin saying, Todd, I'm a part of what makes Wisconsin great. Honest. Email me the itinerary for next summer. We'll hang out, buy you a beer, introduce my wife. Well, how kind is that? Well, yeah, we'll get you the email, Dave. We'll connect. You gave us ours. We'll connect offline because we're still putting together early stages of where we want to go this year on a little around the state because we love doing that. Again, right now checking the 511wi.gov map right now. We can tell you that most of the slickery spots are in southeast Wisconsin, right around Waukesha into both east and west of Waukesha there. Also on Highway 94, Also south of Waukesha there a little bit as well. A few accidents around the Milwaukee area. And then it looks like the interstate from Madison down to Janesville also is snow covered in stretches there. It's not so much there's been a lot of snow, but what happens in these situations, because it's been so cold, that the pavement is of course frozen. And so any precipitation you get freezes onto that, and then cars come along and kind of pack all that down, and it becomes almost, glare ice, not quite glare ice, but it just becomes a real slick mess. So use some caution today. Again, the worst spots appear, according to 511, from Madison South down to Janesville, and also in the greater Waukesha County area right now. All roads in Waukesha County. And then way up north for our listeners, particularly in Hayward, around Ashland and Bayfield and Poplar, and that cable right now, it looks like those roads are snow covered as well. And welcome snow up there in Hayward, as the Birkenbeiner is going to be happening here next month. So certainly they could use some snow, and all of our agricultural producers as well. Most of the state now, or at least a good share of the state, still under drought conditions. And I know that sounds weird to say in January, but our ag producers could really, really use some snow. Some of those 8 inches that fell down in New Orleans. So we're hoping we get some for all of them. Len in Madison, he is checking in here via text saying winter driving training is currently active, right? That's another thing. We've had so little snow this year that we kind of forget how to drive on it. And it's like, oh yeah, you do have to leave extra time so you don't rear end somebody on these roads. Remember, tap the brakes. Don't just lay on the brakes. You're less likely to skid if you tap the brakes lightly.
And do so earlier than you normally would.
Yes. Some friendly driving advice from Todd and Aaron on a Wednesday. All right, coming up this hour, gonna do some fun things. What's good? We gotta focus on some goodness here. Wisconsin men's basketball team. Boy, did you watch that game last night at the old Peacock, Aaron?
I did not.
I did. Checked in on the Peacock, and Wisconsin came out strong. Was looking pretty good, but boy, in the second half, UCLA just really got Wisconsin out of their rhythm, and UCLA ends up knocking off Wisconsin 85-83, as our sports reporter, the great Mike Clemens, there reported in the last report there here on Civic Media. Wisconsin ranked at number 18 before that loss last night. They had beaten USC a couple of days prior, and while they were out in Los Angeles, the men's basketball team under Coach Greg Gard gave back in the form of some food pantry and this sort of thing. They helped out for part of the day, and we're going to play a little bit of cut from the Wisconsin men's basketball team. And speaking of UW-Madison, out with a new ranking, we'll talk about as well. CC Sabathia, former Milwaukee Brewer, for one very important season, part of the new inductee into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And we may get to a couple more cuts from the news as well. But right now at 13 past the hour of 1 o'clock, time once again for What's Worse. Here we go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with
Time
this,
once again for What's Worse. No prize money involved, nothing to give away, but here it is, your chance to be heard. Across the state of Wisconsin, 11 stations in all major media markets. No better way to get your message out to the people that you want to patronize your business, your message, your advocacy. Go to Civic Media. Find out how. We cover the entire state, literally and figuratively. So here it is, your chance to be heard. And again, as Mike Lucas likes to say, timely indeed, because, you've got snow. People are out there shoveling a little bit. I mean, again, not huge amounts right now. But we got snow and the cold, Zommers. The cold sometimes gives you aches and pains. So I think this time of year, we all are a little bit sore.
Yeah.
So here it is. What's worse, a sore back or a sore neck? What's worse, a sore back or a sore neck? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. You could also text us on the Civic Media app. If you don't have it, hey, no worries. We got you. Simply go to your phone, Android or Apple device, Go to your app store. That's that little icon. It looks like the letter A formed in popsicle sticks, at least on Apple. I don't know what it looks like on Android. You click on that, the app store. And now don't worry, we're not going to charge anything for it. Because, people ask, well, is it going to cost me anything? Great question. The answer is no. You simply type in, then you'll go to the app store. There'll be a search bar. You type in Civic, CIVIC, Civic Media. It'll pop up, a little CM logo. You click on that, takes less than a minute. It's free. It's what CBS's Gail King calls a deal. The Civic Media app, and then you can text us. Can text in. Question this period. Period? Are we in the third period? Is this a hockey? I'm not sure. Going to a roller derby this weekend has confused me because it's called a jam. Now I've got all this vernacular for roller derby in my head. Anyway, what's worse, a sore back or a sore neck? A sore back or a sore neck? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Our ongoing contributor and friend Jeff Perry on Facebook says, I have many times been called a pain in the neck, but even so, I say back pain is worse. All right, very good. Very good. A vote for Perry. I've never called him a pain in the neck, but back pain. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Gary in beautiful Sussex. Gary, hope you're keeping her between the lines on a snowy Wednesday. What's worse, sore back or sore neck?
Well, I've had both. When I was a kid, 14 years old, I dove off the diving board and I hit the bottom of the pool.
Oh my God, Gary!
I was doing a thing called a sailor dive, and I didn't realize the pool was so short. It was at a hotel, and I split my head open, ended up getting 8 stitches in my head, and I actually almost drowned. It was somebody was walking by outside, and they saw me through the glass, and they didn't see me come up, so he jumped in the pool and pulled me out. So
wow.
I had a sore neck all the time,
Yeah.
right? And I also get a sore back because I pulling furnaces out of the basement,
Sure.
So, but if I had to have one, the sore neck affects your head, your brain, feels like your head's in a vice. So that's worse. Okay.
Yeah, I will go. I mean, go ahead. I mean, holy cow, Gary. I mean, thanks for sharing. But you're blessed and fortunate enough
a lot of
to
people
walk.
die like that.
I mean, a lot of people have injuries like that and can never walk again. So I'm glad that was not you.
Could have been paralyzed. So I'm very lucky. But I do have to get back to business now.
All right.
I just want to know what I want Eric, and I need you, Todd, to tell me, do you honestly think that Elon Musk was giving a Nazi salute when he puts his hand on his chest and he goes out to the side? Because that's not how the Nazis do it. They go straight up and they go forward.
I'm not,
So
I don't
want to know your opinion, both of you guys. Eric, too.
All right. I appreciate the call, Gary. Look, again, I don't want to go into every day on this, but look, you answered our question, so I'll answer yours. I'm not worried too much about it. It's one guy, an unelected official. I might be more willing to give him the benefit of the doubt if he hadn't just endorsed the pro-Nazi party in Germany. So I find it hard to believe that he didn't realize what the replication was. We've got the cut on file. I don't want to play it right now, but he claimed it was from his heart, and he put his hand over his heart to all of you, and then he extended his arm. Look, I think it's kind of noise, and I just don't want to get distracted about it. But there's my honest answer.
That's kind of where I'm at too. Is I think it might be, it might not be.
Right.
Ultimately, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I already knew he was a knucklehead.
What Elon Musk is both a pain in the back and a pain in the neck, in my opinion. We'll come back, ask you what's worse, sore back or sore neck, here on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Madison's Real News and Great Conversation, 92.7 WMDX.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and Clear Skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis.
Dana, that's good. I like that.
Skyrizi.com.
It says every American knows what a Nazi salute looks like, but there is no specific angle that is described in the book of Nazi saluting. Well done.
Overuse or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 608-384-0897. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of
30
satisfied
seconds.
patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy
Tyler
is
bringing back
available
Karina.
right now to the public, but only for qualified.
So Karina is the worst of all.
Like you should. Right now, lick it good. Lick this just like you should. My neck, my back, lick my just like that. My neck, my back, lick my just like that.
Welcome to
my neck,
Todd Allbaugh After Dark on the Civic Media Radio Network, following Pete Schwab later on tonight. Actually, no, we are going to be on tonight with Pat Kreitlow and Dan Schaefer. Join us at 6:50 tonight across the Civic Media Radio Network. You can still find Schwaba. He's going to start his show at 6, and then at about 10 to 7, he'll be on the app, on the stream only. So you can, if politics isn't your jam, as they say. Do they say that? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
It is said, I'm sure.
You can still jam with Schwaba and Conrad tonight on the Civic Media app and on the stream, at least.
And if you want both, you
Right.
can watch and listen to the State of the State live, and then check out the podcast on civicmedia.us/shows of
There you go.
Nightlight.
Well, join us, Kreitlow and Schaefer and I at 6:50 tonight across the Civic Media Radio Network. We are going to be carrying the governor's State of the State address. We are, the great song, though, to bring us back in there. We are talking about sore backs and sore necks. We're right in the middle of what's worse for today. What's worse, a sore back or a sore neck? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Zommers, do you want to give us your opinion on this?
I think short term, sore neck is worse, in my opinion, just because my neck and shoulders are already extraordinarily knotted up.
Okay.
And so when they get sore, it hurts a lot. But long term, back is definitely worse. I've had relatively minor back injuries, like slipping on ice and things like that. I had to have physical therapy for it. And as one of our texters says, Casper in Madison says, I deal with chronic pain with both. Lower back pain can be completely debilitating to the point where you can't even bend over to put on your shoes. Neck pain isn't enjoyable either, but lower back pain is exponentially worse.
Yeah,
And I agree in that long term and severe and or chronic pain, back is worse. But short term, I hate neck pain so much.
Christine in Slinger, listening on WAUK, says, a sore neck by far. Had both, and neck pain is way worse. You took care of Casper's comment. We appreciate that. Dana, listening up in La Crosse, had a comment on Gary's, not the what's worse, but his comment on Elon Musk. Says every American knows what a Nazi salute looks like, but there's no specific angle that describes that in a book of Nazi saluting. I didn't know there was a book of Nazi saluting, but no, you're well said. Here, this is fantastic. Tyler, listening on WFHR, the great FHR station in Wisconsin Rapids. Tyler says, what's worse is being in the vicinity of a sore Karina. That's the worst of all. Yikes.
And for our caller, Karina,
right?
It is Corina that
Right.
Tyler is referring to.
He's saying Corina, not Karina. People want Karina to have her own segment on this, by the way.
Is people Todd Allbaugh?
No, I've heard from other people who said we should just give her her own segment because she's fantastic. Mark, chiming in from Prayer to Sack, says neck, back, rear end, heart, soul. Musk is just an all-around pain. All right, very good. Combining the what's worse in politics. WMDX listener, a brand new listener, we appreciate you tuning in, saying, for me, it's the back. I can walk when my neck hurts, but I have to have nerve block injections in my lower back every 12 to 18 months so I can walk. Wow. That, I mean, there are people that have really severe, as we were hearing from whether it was Gary or these other people that have had injuries in life, and this doesn't go away. This stays with you forever. But thank you for listening. Brand new caller there in Madison or the area on WMDX. Also, Tyler in Columbia County says, I have a lot of pains in my neck, but back issues run in my family. I'll have to say the back is worse. It's sore from supporting lots of great people and friends. All right, very good. Asking the question, what's worse, a sore back or a sore neck? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Len in Madison, listening on WMDX, says a sore back may be worse than a sore neck based on the size of the braces involved. All right, well, those are some good comments. Still a couple minutes to weigh in. What's worse, a sore back or a sore neck? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842.
What about you, Todd? Which one do you think is worse?
It's a tough call. I kind of got to go with Gary on the what's worse question, or other. For me, I think the neck, because if your neck gets really to the point where I've had, whether I've slept on it wrong or whatever, where you can't, like, you kind of have to walk around like this at an angle, like you can barely move it. Where it's a bad back, I've had back issues too, but I know there are people that, like, we've had these callers and listeners saying that people have to, like, get injections. I mean, that's beyond just normal back pain. That's physical issues, right?
When it's chronic or injury based,
Right.
that's a whole other level than just a sore back or a sore neck.
So, like so many of these, I guess it kind of depends. But in general, I guess generally speaking, I get more annoyed when my neck is to the point where I can't move it. But I've had back issues as well. Neither one are fantastic. Angie checking in from beautiful Monroe, Wisconsin, down there in God's country, Greene County, along the state line, says, turn your lights on for safe driving. Don't rely on your auto factor. Apparently, conditions around near Monroe right now in the southern part of the state getting a little murky. So be reminded of that as snow continues to fall. John in Oshkosh, listening on WISS, says, if you say the neck is worse, you've never had a serious back injury, in my opinion. Well, fair, John. I don't know if I've ever had a back injury per se. And like I say, that's a whole another kettle of fish, right? I'm just talking about, whether we do these What Makes Wisconsin Great tours, and always happy to do it. Love doing it. But the equipment that we use, after you're loading it in and out a couple of times a day for 5 days, your back gets a little sore. It's that kind of pain. But yes, like I say, people have had true, I've had friends, family who have been in car accidents, and like the one caller said, fusion of vertebrae. That's a whole nother level of, like you say, chronic back issues. So,
and of course, they're connected because it's both the spine.
Yeah.
Ultimately, spinal injuries and pain sucks.
Here you go. Here's a little helpful hint for you from our own Chris Casper. Says, for me, doing a plank for 1 minute in the morning and in the evening has significantly helped my lower back issues. Well, that's fantastic.
Absolutely, yes.
That's fantastic. Look at this. Casper not only getting the engineering done, he is the Jack LaLanne of Civic Media. Look it up on the Civic Media Radio Network. Don't go there. Come back. Talk a little bit about CC Sabathia going into the Hall of Fame. And something good from Wisconsin men's basketball. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
News and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
I was doing planks a lot, and then recently I was informed by a doctor that I shouldn't due to other conditions. So I'm like, well, what the heck am I supposed to do? For
and Instagram.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. In a story we've been following, Sun Prairie officials have given the stamp of approval for redevelopment downtown in the area where an explosion killed a firefighter in 2018. JCAP Real Estate from Eau Claire will be building apartments and a hotel at the corner of Bristol and Main Streets. The project will cost $41 million, and the city worked out a tax increment finance deal with the developer. The city will get room taxes, and because of revenue limits, that new construction will help pay for things in the city budget, like road maintenance and staffing. Construction should start in the spring. The hotel is expected to be finished next year. The apartment building should be done in 2027. And a Columbus pilot who was killed in action during the Vietnam War has now been accounted for. 33-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Donald Downing was flying a plane when it was shot down in September 1967. Recovery crews found wreckage and other evidence last summer, and lab tests showed they had found Downing. There will be a funeral at Arlington National Cemetery. And Wisconsinites are now paying the lowest tax burden in more than 50 years. That's according to a new analysis from the nonpartisan Wisconsin Policy Forum. The tax burden is the ratio between our income and what we pay in taxes. In 2024, it was 9.6%. That's the lowest in Wisconsin since at least 1970. According to researchers, it's because the state's income is growing while lawmakers are making, quote, aggressive efforts, end quote, to keep taxes low. Overall, taxes paid to the state grew 1.6% in 2024. Meanwhile, local government taxes grew 2.7%. Revenue limits from state lawmakers have led to slower tax increases, but they've also created a situation where municipalities' revenue grows slower than inflation. That's a large part of what causes cities to propose referendums. The state currently has a $4 billion surplus. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. This is 92.7 WMDX News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Beatles and or John Lennon fans will be interested to know that a new documentary about John and Yoko is coming this spring. Magnolia Pictures has announced that 1-to-1, John and Yoko will get an IMAX release April 11th. The film covers an 18-month period of John and Yoko's time in Greenwich Village in the early 1970s and features restored, never-before-seen footage. 1-to-1 will drop on Max for us streamers in late May of this year. Imagine not getting a role in a movie that is not live action and has no real humans because the producers tell you look like a Smurf. That is what happened to actor Josh Gad. Gad was up for a role in Avatar in 2009, but was told director James Cameron didn't think he had the right body type. Apparently, Gad has such a strange body they couldn't even change it with CGI like they did every other actor. For more insights, check out Gad's new book, In Gad We Trust.
That must feel bad.
For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from
LA
6
Tom
to
says
8
back
p.m.
pain
on
affects the
Civic
legs and the
Media
whole body.
Radio
Yes,
Network.
it sure does. And my neck pain and all that is probably just because I have scoliosis.
Nothing to laugh about, I'm just saying that.
Hitting a major mark as we stay above zero today with mostly cloudy skies and light snow on and off throughout the afternoon. With very light accumulations, winds are still breezy, but they're out of the south, gusting up to 25 miles per hour, pushing our highs to near 20 degrees. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Currently, it's 19.
Hey everybody, Dane County Humane Society reminds you, hey, bang on the hood of your vehicle before starting your engine this winter. It's that simple. You can save a cat's life. With frigid temperatures and will shelter, some cats are going to try to find a way to keep safe
I just
and
put it in
warm,
the PSA
including
rotation, and there
just
aren't a
wearing
lot of
on your car
PSAs.
hood
Clearly
and
not.
the wheel well of your vehicle.
I'm
So
going to
before
try and
climbing
find more this
into your
afternoon,
vehicle
but
and
there's so
find
many
out
online that
bang
are
on the
garbage.
hood and give cats an opportunity to flee. To learn more, visit giveshelter.org.
The Dom Salvia Show.
Jack Smith's report. Maggie, prosecutors considered charging Trump with inciting insurrection, but didn't.
There's an old saying, if you shoot at the king, don't miss. If it's someone who's really powerful
30
or really
seconds.
rich, I gotta be absolutely certain I can prove every charge beyond a reasonable doubt.
fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Glad to have you along with us here on a Wednesday, January 22nd, 2023. 34 minutes now past 1 o'clock. Again, drive safely if you're on Wisconsin roadways, particularly south of Madison towards Janesville and in the greater Waukesha County area. That's where roads appear to be most slick at this hour, according to 511.gov, 511WI. Why do I keep forgetting the WI.gov? And also for our Hayward listeners, the buzz of the north up there, also just north of Hayward, Cable, Wisconsin, and up to Lake Superior. Slick roads up there, but some very much needed snow across the state of Wisconsin as well. Just allow some extra time and you will get there. All right. As we said before the break, the Wisconsin Badgers were heard last night on several stations of Civic Media and on the Civic Media app. Unfortunately, UCLA, better known as UCLA, the Bruins, knocked off number 18 Wisconsin last night, 85-83. Wisconsin probably should have won. They should have won that game. They just got disjointed, allowed, and give UCLA some credit. They just penetrated the defense and just got, to use a Dan Schaefer phrase, Wisconsin was discombobulated last night. They needed some recombobulation area. Dan will join Pat Kreitlow and I, by the way, at 10 before 7 to help anchor Governor Tony Evers' State of the State speech tonight, so join us then. But Bucky lost 85-83 last night. However, they had beaten USC couple of days before. So they go out now that the Big Ten includes former members of the Pac-12, both USC and UCLA in Los Angeles, California, and then, of course, University of Washington in the state of Washington, as well as the University of Oregon in the state of Oregon. And, these West Coast trips, they don't want to just go out and do one, so what they try to do is go out and do a couple while they're out there. So the Wisconsin Badgers had a couple of days here to both do homework and also train, and they chose, and this just shows you the kind of guy that Greg Gard and before him, Bo Ryan, these folks are all about service. Bo Ryan was a veteran, huge supporter of veterans, our military and community service. Greg Gard learned that from Bo, and of course, Greg comes from little Cobb, Wisconsin, in southwest Wisconsin, farm kid, gave back to the community like his parents. And so it was important that while they were in Los Angeles, they participated in giving back. Here's a quick clip from the University of Wisconsin men's basketball program on what they did there on their day of giving out in Los Angeles.
With everything that's going on in LA with the fires and the devastation of the property and people's houses and stuff, I think this is our way of, while we're here for a week, giving back to the community, trying to find any little way possible to make our presence known and make a difference in someone's life, for sure.
Good, JB. Doing it on this day is even significant for us because if you just look at our team, it's not just a team full of one race. We got guys from different cultures, different ethnicities, and that's just a test to what Martin Luther King did. It's just big, just being able to do this for other people. Like us coming together and helping other people is something he would have loved to see.
There was the University of Wisconsin men's basketball team, and again, they took on MLK Day to go out there, and I think they're working at a food pantry. They're packaging food and helping to distribute it. I just thought it was a great ambassadorship for University of Wisconsin, for the state of Wisconsin, and really appreciated them sharing that with all of us. Speaking of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, we get these polls a lot that come out. Here's a feel-good one from worldatlas.com. Best college town in the United States of America. Says nestled between the sparkling waters of Lake Mendota and Lake Monona. In the story, it says Lake Monone. They forgot the A, but that's fine. Is Madison, Wisconsin.
No, it's not fine. Why do so many publications not copy edit anymore? Okay, I'm sorry. It's a pet peeve.
I get it. But
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's a pet peeve of mine, that's all.
It says it's more than just the capital of the Badger State. Madison is a vibrant college town that perfectly blends academic excellence, cultural diversity, and a strong sense of community. Anchored by the University of Wisconsin-Madison, this dynamic city has earned its reputation as the best college town in the United States. Its unique blend of youthful energy, cultural richness, and welcoming atmosphere makes it a destination like no other for students, residents, and visitors alike. At the heart of Madison's charm is the University of Wisconsin-Madison, a world-class institution that infuses the city with intellect, innovation, and excitement. Established in 1848, the university's sprawling campus stretches along the shores of Lake Mendota, there they spelled it right, offering breathtaking views and a lively hub for academic and social activities. College students create a youthful vibe that energizes the city, while the university's faculty and research programs attract scholars and thought leaders from around the world. Reading from worldatlas.com on naming Madison, University of Wisconsin-Madison, the best college town. UW-Madison's influence extends beyond academics, from the roar of Badger fans at Camp Randall Stadium during football games to the thought-provoking lectures and cultural events open to the public. The campus is a cornerstone of Madison's identity. Iconic landmarks like Bascom Hill and try that again, Todd, Memorial Union Terrace serve as gathering places where students and community members alike come together to relax, socialize, and enjoy the scenery. From worldatlas.com, naming University of Wisconsin-Madison and Madison as the world's best college town. How about that, Mr. Summers? I mean, that's pretty
That's
cool.
something I can get behind.
Right? What are your thoughts on this? Give us a call, 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. You can weigh in on what you think of this from worldatlas.com. Madison being named the best college town in America yet again.
I think one of the things that helps it get this honor is, ironically enough, the fact that you can escape that aspect of it. In a place like Appleton, the College Avenue is only so long. It only has so many bars, and I feel like you're going to see college students everywhere. In Madison, there are more places to go, so you can find some that are not full of college students if that's not the vibe you want that evening. But you can still have the youthful energy anytime you want it.
See, I agree with the article in that. I mean, I grew up in Richland Center, as most listeners know. I've been in Madison now fully probably half of my life, almost around 25 years. And for me, having the University of Wisconsin-Madison as a part of this city is a huge part of why I love it, because of what you said. I mean, because I love my favorite place in town is Memorial Terrace. And
it is fantastic.
You just go there, you get I'm a big water guy, and so I like sitting by the water. You got brats, you got beer, great people watching. You can take a walk along the shore on Lakeshore Path. You got Babcock Hall ice cream if you want something sweet. They've got grass now right there. If you want to chill on the grass, you touch the grass, as they say, literally and figuratively. Great place to watch the sunset. Just a great place to chill. You can do homework, you can read. And you can walk if you want the length of State Street up to, Saturdays. My gosh, Saturdays. You got the farmers market as well. And here, back to this article at worldatlas.com, says Madison's vibrant atmosphere stems from the relationship between the university and the city. This town and gown, as they call it, collaboration, is evident in shared events, thriving local businesses, a social scene that appeals to all ages. Farmers markets, including the famous Dane County Farmers Market, bring students and residents together to enjoy fresh produce, artisanal goods, and live music on the square. And it goes on to talk about the cultural and recreational oasis as well, the thriving social scene. Great article. Check it out. worldatlas.com, the best college town in the United States, Madison, Wisconsin. Now, some of our listeners in Milwaukee and Green Bay and La Crosse and Eau Claire may beg to differ with us. And that's okay, because you got to be proud of where you're from and where you are.
And also, Madison being great by no means excludes the rest of our great places, our great college towns in the state, from also being great.
Yeah, I'm just reading the article, what was written. Give us a thought. Give us a call on your favorite college town in Wisconsin. How about that? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. A lot of people don't know Superior is a college town.
Sure is.
Where Arnold Schwarzenegger went. No joke, not making it up. As Joe Biden says. No, Schwarzenegger went there.
He sure did.
And one of the probably the most famous alum. I just think that any community that has a college, university, it brings a dynamic to that. Well, A, it brings economic prosperity, but two, it brings a vibe that's healthy and good and keeps us moving forward as a state. 855-752-4842, 15 now before the hour. Want to get to this one before we have to wrap up for the day. CC Sabathia. You were probably too young to remember him pitching, weren't you?
Yep.
He was only with the Brewers for 1 year, but boy, howdy, was it a year. The Brewers had not been to a postseason in 26 years. 26 years. Drought. Brewers made the trade for the great pitcher, CC Sabathia. And I had the fortune of being at that game that we're going to play this cut from in 2008. My mom and I went, actually. It was a little chilly toward the end of the season. It was the last regular game of the season. The Brewers had to win it. And then we all sat there at what was then Miller Park, now AmFam Field, because we had to wait and see if the Mets, I believe the Mets, depended on if the Mets won or lost. I can't remember which way it needed to go. But they put up that game on the big screen, on the Jumbotron, and nobody left their seats. Everybody watched this other game because that game had to go a certain way for the Brewers to win the wild card slot that year. But first they had to win their own game. And so this was the call. And boy, just goes to show you how much we're going to miss Bob Uecker. Now, the late, great Bob Uecker on the final 2 outs in 2008 by CC Sabathia.
Everybody in this place is standing. 45,299. Sabathia sets. Here it is. Swinging a bouncer. Double play ball. JJ second. Relay. Double play. Hey, they win. Whoa, what a finish. CC Sabathia being mobbed by his teammates. And the Brewers have beaten Chicago. Wow, what a game. What a performance by Sabathia. And Sabathia now saluting this huge crowd. And they return the salute.
There he is. I mean, I just get chills. I get goosebumps
Oh, yeah.
just listening to Uecker's call.
I also loved in the stands, there's a video to this, and in the stands, some of the fans are holding up signs that say, "We'll CC you in the playoffs."
Right? It was just a huge, huge game. And because and I know that Mike Clemens, our great sports reporter, has been talking about this on his sports reports. We hadn't been to the post game since the Brewers went to the World Series. Think about that. I mean, for all those who, and thank God it was the start in 2008 of the Brewers' more recent success. I mean, now, I don't want to say we take it for granted as Brewers fans, but it's like we go into the season thinking, yeah, the Brewers have a real shot here. But boy, for 26 years, it was like the Bad News Bears. And to be in that stadium that day and watch that happen and see, I mean, CC Sabathia pitched like 9 straight innings. What he did during that run was remarkable, going into the Hall of Fame, and much deserved. We'll come back, talk about it a bit more, and also wrap things up here on a snowy Wednesday edition of the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
No more mold, no more damage, no more slipping and hurting. Make your ordinary bathroom extraordinary for only $99 per month. New shower, new door, new tub, new wall, new anti-slip technology. BCI Bath and Shower is made in America for the highest quality. First 50 callers save $1,500 on a never clear glass treated door. BCI Bath and Shower. Interest-free financing options. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. On Monday, January 20th, Donald Trump returned to office, sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Right out of the gate, he took a number of actions on his top issue, immigration. Perhaps the most troubling of these is one aiming to end birthright citizenship in America. An immigration attorney I talked to told me, "We're going to sit through a lot of BS over the course of the next weeks, months, and years, but this is the big one." My take? This action from the Trump administration is despicable, unconstitutional, and fundamentally anti-American. The day after the order was issued, Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul joined a coalition of 20 states challenging this action in court. This legal battle will be a tremendously important one for all of us to follow.
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area and on our website at civicmedia.us.
Here's to a Wisconsin winter you will always remember. To playing outdoors.
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is 9 before the hour of 2 o'clock. Coming up at the top of the hour, ABC or CBS Radio Network News, depending upon which of our great stations you listen to across the state of Wisconsin. And then a weather update with our weather team. Again, just be careful out there. No major, up in far northern Wisconsin, Douglas County along Lake Superior, could be several inches of snow up there. But most of us, including southeast Wisconsin, just this continual flurrying, as they say. Lots of flurries. And, it might add up to an inch, maybe two on the high side. But it's really the compacting of this precipitation on the frozen pavement cement that's making it really slick. So south of Madison towards Janesville, the greater Waukesha County area, and parts around Racine, Kenosha, and Milwaukee, some of those roadways are still snow-covered and slippery. And then far northern Wisconsin, up around Douglas County, Cable, for our listeners up there in Hayward, just north of Hayward. You can check all these conditions out at 511wi.gov. 511wi.gov is where you can find road conditions in Wisconsin. And then Mike Clemens will be in, as we've been saying, with a sports report, talking about former Milwaukee Brewer CC Sabathia going into the Hall of Fame. Of course, he was traded after that 1 year to the Yankees, and Sabathia has chosen to go into the Hall as a Yankee. But it's been very kind in saying, without that season in Milwaukee, I'm not sure I would be here. And really, if it hadn't been for Milwaukee trading me to a team like the Yankees. So he's been very gracious in accepting this. And then, of course, after sports, we have the Maggie Dawn Show coming up after the 2 o'clock hour. Today, Maggie sits down with Native Roots radio host. Oh, this is great. Our friend Robert Pilot, wonderful guy, to discuss one of President Biden's final pardons. And then kicking off the second hour, Maggie speaks with Sarah Spain of Emily's List. She joins to discuss the second Trump administration and the key races that they are supporting to ensure there is a check on the MAGA-controlled federal government. And then coming up from 2 until 4, pardon me, from 4 until 6, Maggie's 2 to 4, Dom Selvia 4 to 6. Dom Selvia welcomes friend of the show, Matt Rothschild, to the program. as he co-hosts the evening and takes your calls and news of the day. Well, there you go. And Matt Rothschild, he had like 50 finches, goldfinches in his feeder. He's a big bird guy. And he was posting, I think, on Facebook, all these finches. They're beautiful. So maybe he'll talk about finches today as well.
You know, I don't use Facebook very often, but maybe I need to, just to see his bird pictures.
Matt
legitimately.
Matt Rothschild is starting a new clothing line, incidentally. He may talk about that today. It's called Abercrombie and Finch. So right there, that'll be fantastic. It features a lot of bird prints, you understand, Abercrombie and Finch. So looking forward to that in nervous anticipation. And then, of course, you got after that, you've got Nightlight with Pete Schwaba starting at 6. And then Kreitlow and Dan Schaefer and I will be back at 10 till 7, anchoring special coverage of Tony Evers' State of the State address. And then, of course, we have Rick Smith Across America and the aforementioned Robert Pilot and Native Roots Radio. Another great evening on the docket and on the lineup. Again, final shout out to my youngest godson. I have a favorite youngest and a favorite oldest. My favorite youngest godson, Jason Kohler, the big 25, the big 25. So wherever he is today, on a ship or on a dock, wherever he's working today, happy birthday, Jace. Proud of you. Love you. Have a wonderful day out there on the West Coast. See, the beauty is it's pertinent noon out there. So it's the day has not even begun for Jason yet. Well, another talking about CC Sabathia, former Milwaukee Brewer, announced yesterday going into the Hall of Fame, Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Here's the thing that you don't remember. A lot of us don't remember about CC Sabathia. When he carried the Milwaukee Brewers into the playoffs in 2008. Of course, as we said, the first time they were in the playoffs since 1982 on that World Series run. He started on 3 days of rest for his final 3 starts. I mean, it's unheard of today. So rest 3 days, pitch. Rest 3 days, pitch. Rest 3 days, pitch. And including tossing a playoff clinching complete game on the final day of the season, that cup we played for Euchre. Next year, he signed with the New York Yankees and led them to a World Series title, going 3-1 with a 1.98 ERA in the postseason.
I'm sure he had some back pain in 2008 from carrying the team.
I'm sure he did. But I mean, it's remarkable when you think today of pitchers in the major league. And look, I'm sure it's healthier. I mean, we've talked a lot. We're going to talk more again here in a couple of weeks to our friends of the show, Kelly Call and Sean Hanish, the producer and director-producer of Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 82 Brewers. But what was remarkable, and Zommers and I both saw it, is you hear directly from guys like Pete Vukovich, one of the great pitchers of that 82 Brewer team, and he was going out there with a torn rotator cuff.
And he didn't say anything.
Right. I mean, think of that. Now, was that the healthiest thing? And
No.
am I advocating for that? No, I'm just saying that it was a different era. And CC Sabathia at 82, when the Brewers and Wisconsin needed him most, stepped up literally and gave it his all and got us back into the playoffs for the first time in 26 years. Hats off to CC Sabathia. Appreciate you, my friend. Well, we're not friends, but you're a friend of all of Wisconsin for everything you did for us. Well earned, CC Sabathia. Thanks to Pat Kreitlow and Trygve Olsen, who are our friends, Mr. Zommers as well, and all of you for listening. We'll join you tonight at 10 of 7 for the State of the State address, and back on this show tomorrow at 12 noon. Stay tuned. Maggie Dawn is next. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. See you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Muchas gracias. Bye-bye.